Hi everyone, so today this video is going to be about traveling on a budget, traveling one-on-one, traveling for beginners, whatever you want to call it. And don't mind the music playing in the background. It's just like I guess you want to call it a trap tutorial, trap how-to, whatever. Just listen, and if you have any questions at the end, just let me know. So first things first, when it comes to traveling, you have to have PTO or time off. Well, you don't necessarily have to, but who wouldn't want to get paid while they're traveling, you know? So generally, if you're working a schedule where you're off on weekends, I would say the best thing to do is schedule your travel around those days. So for instance, most of the trips that I take, since I'm off on weekends, I usually take off on a Thursday or Friday, or Thursday and Friday. So essentially, I'm saving most of my PTO days by just using only 2 days that week. Or sometimes, depending on your shift as well, my shift, I get off at 3:30 p.m. So if I want to travel on a Friday, I can still catch a 5:30 flight, an 8 o'clock flight. So those are the types of things you need to keep in mind. Just save your PTO, use it wisely. Don't try to, I wouldn't advise taking week trips. I mean, I wouldn't do that. I would probably do like a maybe Wednesday through Monday type thing to keep my PTO. But that's just me. Next, let's talk about flights. Flights are the biggest piece of the puzzle. Aside from the hotel, the flight is the most expensive thing. So you should always try to make sure you can find the best deal, right? So what I like to do is I like to use Skiplag. Skiplag is basically an airfare site that shows hidden fares, third leg flights. And what I mean by third leg flights are, let me just give you an example because that's the best way to explain it. Say I wanted to go to Miami from Atlanta, but the flight directly from Atlanta to Miami is too expensive. So Skiplag would search and it would find routes that include Miami. So basically, I could get a flight that's actually going to Toronto but has a layover in Miami. So since I only book one ways normally when I travel, which is easier for me, I can just jump on the plane and hop off in Miami when it hits that layover. And it won't affect my other flight because that one was also a one-way, my returning flight. So with that website, it also has a bar or some type of graph, I guess if you want to call it that. You can go on the site and for each flight you can see where the prices increase and decrease over the different days and the different times. So that could help you, I guess, in the future if you wanted to know when the best time would be to book a certain flight. That could potentially help you. Now that site has saved me a lot of money. Last month, well actually it was this month when I went to Cancun, I got my flight on that site, my returning flight from Cancun back to Atlanta. It was actually $127 on the site. Now when I went to the actual airlines website, that flight was twice the amount. It was over $200. So that's what I'm saying. Just use that site. And there are also other sites as well. I think Hopper is one, but I haven't had much luck with that one. Also, Travel Pirates. Travel Pirates is a good source for, you know, finding deals for flights and vacations. You can follow them on Facebook or you can go to the website, and they generally post different deals every week or every day to and from certain locations. So for example, you can see a trip, a 4-day trip to, I don't know, Barbados, and it would be $250, which includes airfare, and the room. So just keep that in mind. Now I know a lot of people don't like Spirit, but hey, Spirit is my best friend. I've been to Miami every month since August, and I am able to do that because with Spirit I normally get all the way round trip. I'm spending under $100 each time. The last time I went to Miami last month, my ticket, actually it was this month, again I'm sorry, I'm mixing up my dates. One of my tickets was only $24. So come on, you can't beat that, like really, honestly. And then the returning ticket was only, I believe, $65. Also, when I fly Spirit, I never pay for seats. I always get random seat assignment. Now, some people may not like that, but the thing is, one time I got first class on Spirit by doing random seat assignment. So you never know what can happen. I've also won a free trip with Spirit twice by randomly being assigned the winning seat. So if you fly Spirit, you are familiar with their little game they do every time they fly. Basically, a person in the middle seat gets a free voucher for a ticket. So again, with that voucher and other miles I've racked up flying on Spirit, I was able to purchase my departing trip to Cancun. So only thing I really had to pay was $45. So again, whole trip, what was that, 45 plus, what was it, 127, under $200 for the flights, period. Frontier also has good deals on flights as well. They also have weekly specials and deals. What you should do is go to the website, both Spirit and Frontier, and sign up for their specials or deals, because every day I get an email from both of those airlines telling me about a deal. Frontier normally has 75 to 90% off. Spirit generally between 40 to 60% off, and during like Black Friday, holidays, maybe around 90%. So it's definitely worth signing up, I'm telling you. And then as far as like the flights, the best days if you just want to go somewhere random, according to, I'm just basing it off what I see when I look for flights. Generally Tuesday and Wednesday are the best days to fly. They're the cheapest days to fly. And also when Frontier and Spirit have those specials, usually the specials only apply to those days. So that's when you can get those $25, $19, $10 flights. Yes, I've seen them that low too. I'm sorry guys, I'm looking at my notes. So yeah, that pretty much sums up the flights. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. Just go to Skip Black, sign up for Spirit and Frontier deals. Oh, also, what you want to do is, if you're trying to fly internationally, especially to Europe, try to look at some of their airlines. Like WOW is a very cheap alternative to fly internationally. I've never flown with WOW, so I don't know how it is, but I've heard it's okay, but it's probably like the equivalent of the international Spirit. So just keep that in mind. Now for my trip to London, which I just purchased the other day on Black Friday, I purchased that one through Norwegian. Norwegian had flights to London from Fort Lauderdale for $129. Come on, like that's unheard of. So you just have to, whenever there's a deal or there's holidays or you see any sales, you have to jump on them right then, period, point blank. That's how you fly, and fly frequently. Also make sure you're a member of like the mileage clubs for all the airlines. Oh, also when it comes to flights, I don't fly with baggage. That's another expense I'm not willing to make. So what I do is, especially since I fly with Spirit or Frontier, I take a backpack. I load it up, I roll all my clothes. I can have at least 7 to 8 days worth of outfits and shoes in that one backpack. And it's free. I don't pay for bags. I'm just trying to help y'all out. I'm giving you the cheap ways to do things. So now let's jump into rooms. So like I said before, rooms and flights are the biggest portion of traveling. The most, like the things that take the most like thought, all of that. So when I travel internationally, I use the same site, bookit.com. Now I wish they were paying me for this endorsement that I'm giving them, but they're not. Bookit.com is boss, okay? that site normally has sales on resorts all the time. 50% off, 70% off, 80% off. When I went to Jamaica, I stayed at the Hyatt Zilara all-inclusive resort. Now that's a pretty expensive resort, but I believe I got it at a discounted rate. I'm not sure how much it was discounted. But the thing that helped me with Book It is Book It allows you, for certain resorts and hotels, it allows you to put a down payment of $1, anywhere from $1 to $10 down. And after that, you just make weekly payments or every other week payments on the room until it's a week before it's time to go, and you have to have it paid by then. So that helps you, because if you're like me, you like to stay in nice places, then you probably don't want to drop $700, $800 right then on a room, especially if you're in the process of planning everything. So you just put that $1 down, and then you schedule the payments. So you have the ability to schedule the payments when they're going to come out. So if you want to do twice this week, once next week, however you want to do it, you can do it that way. And it's not based on credit or anything like that. It's just based on which hotel or resort participates in that program. So another thing with that site, when I go internationally, I do all-inclusive resorts, especially since I travel alone. I'm not big for, I guess, going and adventuring a lot, which I would like to do. I still haven't built the courage to do all of those things yet, and that will come with time. And it'll also come when I spend more time on these trips, because most of the time I only stay like 3 days or so. So with the all-inclusive resorts, those are the best way to go if you're trying to like go somewhere, because one, you get your food is included, your drinks are included. Now you know when you go out of the country, you're gonna want to drink, you want to turn up, all of that. So with these resorts, you have top shelf, bottom shelf, wine, like all of that, all of the things that you want to drink, you get for free, unlimited. And when I say unlimited, I mean unlimited. So if you want to have 10 beers in the morning and 15 margaritas at lunch, you can do that, because that's just the way it works. It's free. So look at it like this: you bought your plane ticket, you paid for your room, and since you're staying in an all-inclusive resort, when you get over there, you're not paying for anything. You're not paying for food, you're not paying for drinks. The only things you would pay for are, like, you know, if you want to tip someone or if you want to go on an excursion. Now with the excursions and everything, what I would advise, especially if you're traveling alone or even just traveling period, try to book it through the hotel's concierge desk, because, you know, going to other countries, they kind of prey on Americans or people that are unsuspecting. So just make sure that you are safe and you speak to the hotel's concierge. Normally they have a desk set up for excursions, so just ask when you get there about those types of things. So, and just basic tips for traveling, especially if you want to travel outside the US, get a passport. You need it. And it's funny because I guess people don't think you need passports. I don't know, because when I was at work, maybe a month or so ago, I was saying how I was trying to keep up with my passport, and some lady was like, where are you going? You're only going to Mexico. But what you don't know, lady, is when as soon as you get to Mexico, you're gonna go through customs and they're gonna want to see that passport, okay? So just get a passport. It's not that expensive. I'm not sure the exact price that it is today, because I got mine I think back in 2013, and back then it was probably like no more than $140 or so. So it's probably around the same price, and it took about 3 weeks to get it. So go ahead and get a passport. Just go ahead and do that. You generally need, I think, your birth certificate and your social security card. You need a passport picture, which you can take at Walgreens, which is cheap. So go ahead and do that. Also, when you are traveling internationally, make sure you, with your reservations for your hotel or resort, that you book your transportation to and from the airport. Don't just jump in random cars, especially if you're going to Mexico. it can be very overwhelming when you come off the plane because there will be 50 million people standing out there trying to taxi you somewhere. So, and they'll be pulling you left and right. So just make sure that you book that in advance. It's so much easier and quicker that way. When you get off the plane, you can just go and someone is waiting for you, or you just have to wait for a couple of minutes and someone picks you up. Someone that you know is legit, because you don't want to just be jumping in cars with people you don't know in other countries. That's not a good idea, I'm telling you. Also, when you're traveling internationally as well, make sure you are researching destinations that are safe for you to visit. So especially if you're traveling alone, I wouldn't recommend going anywhere that's probably not safe for you to travel alone. So just try to, wherever you think you're going or you have an idea about, just try to look it up and just, look up, just research it first. Don't just, I'm going here and just buy the ticket and just go. Don't do that. Just try to research it, okay? And oh, also, this goes back to like scheduling. I don't know what kind of jobs you guys have, but what helps me, especially to save PTO, is the opportunity to work, well, I say the ability to work remotely. So if you have a job like a desk job, try asking your boss if you can work remotely. So working remotely, if some of you guys don't know what that means, is basically working wherever you are. You can be in another country working as long as you have your laptop and whatever else you need to work. So that's another reason why I'm able to go here and there a lot, because I do have that availability to do that. I mean, I can't do it a lot, but if, it's going to save me a day of PTO, I can just ask, especially if I don't have any problem working that day anyway. So some of the times, well, not some of the times, the last time I was in Miami, I actually worked remotely on a Friday because a lot of people can't schedule off at my job on a Friday. So it just made more sense for me to work remotely because I had already scheduled my trip and everything, and I was not trying to miss it. So just keep that in mind. Another tip. Dang, what was I gonna tell y'all? I don't know. Oh, I remember now. So the last tip I have for you guys is exchange rates. So you're traveling internationally. Know the exchange rate, and it would probably be a good idea to exchange your money before you get over there, because they can try to skyrocket the exchange rate, meaning they'll pretty much try to tell you your dollar is not worth as much as it actually is. So just keep that in mind, especially when you're going to be buying, souvenirs or different things like that in whatever the currency is that they use over there, whether it's pesos. So funny story, when I was in Mexico, I didn't take any money off the ATM before I got there. So when I was there, I went to the ATM and it printed the receipt, and the ATM, no lie, I was saying I had all these thousands of dollars. I was like, oh, I'm about to cash out. I'm about to withdraw all this money. But it was in pesos, which I later learned, because when I was at the airport getting keychains and such, the keychains were saying $68. Because I guess the peso symbol is the dollar sign. So just keep that in mind with the exchange rates. Don't let anybody jip you. Make sure you exchange your money before you get there, because people will try it with you, especially if you're, like I said, someone unsuspecting or an American that doesn't know anything about, that country and their currency or anything. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm sure I left off a few things, but if you have any other questions or comments or anything, just, you guys can message me. It's no problem. You can follow me on Instagram at Youelle, Youelle, or some of you guys have me on Facebook already, Emmanuel Height. So that's it for today, guys.